Story about how I stuck a lamb up my nose. Now you might be thinking, how can a lamb go up someone's nose, right? Well, and I remember this vividly. It's still a memory, a very clear memory for me many years later. It was a few days before my third birthday, and my birthday is a week before Christmas. I've often asked Mom and Dad what they were thinking, having a baby a week before Christmas. I don't think people really think about that. But anywho, a few days before my third birthday, and my sister, Heidi, had been born that October. So she was only just a few months old. And Mom and Dad were all about the new baby. And I was jealous because it had been all about me for almost 3 years until that time. And then, of course, new baby takes a lot of time and attention and energy. I was just putting the back burner. Well, I'm going to show them, I thought. So we are decorating our Christmas tree, Mom and Dad and me. And I pull up, I find a nativity scene, the entire nativity scene, just a couple of inches wide and tall, very small. So Mary, Joseph, baby Jesus, some animals, all in this nativity scene. And I look at it and I think to myself, that little lamb right there, because it was kind of a white-yellow color, looks like a booger. I'm going to break it off, and I'm going to put it just right at the edge of my nose, my nostril, so that it looks like a booger hanging. And I will get Mom or Dad or both of their attention to either wipe my nose or say, go blow my nose or something. So I'm walking around with this lamb, which I'm pretending like it's a booger, walking around, and I accidentally sniffed, and it went up my nose. And then I started picking my nose, trying to get it out. And I couldn't find it. Couldn't feel it, couldn't find it. So I go to Mom, and I tell her what I did, and she freaks out. I didn't know. I was almost 3, too young. But the scare was that the nose would go down into my bronchial tubes and down into my lungs, one of my lungs, and that can be pretty dangerous, as you can imagine. So my mom runs over to her mother's house, my grandma, which lived right across a driveway. Ran over to my grandma's house and told her what was going on. So they jumped in the car with my baby sister, and we hightailed it up to the hospital, to the doctor's office. So this was back in the day when you could call the doctor and he would meet you at his office. So that's what we did. And he worked on me for an hour and a half. Couldn't find it, couldn't see it. Had me and I remember laying on the table, and it hurt like the high heavens, man. It hurt like he's digging around with all these different tools in my nose. Can't find it, can't see it, because so they rushed me to a bigger hospital where they had an ENT specialist, and I don't know the logistics of how they called him in or what have you. And I am using he and him pronoun because they were men. And back in the day, there were very few women doctors, specialists, there just weren't. So I remember then laying on the table at the bigger hospital with the ENT doctor, and all these nurses and doctors running around. I see him, and I'm screaming bloody murder. Everyone was just get me off of this table. And I don't remember hurting necessarily. I was just really frightened. And so they hook me up, take these 2 tubes and put them up my nose, and they start suctioning out my nose, following the sinuses, I'm guessing, in hopes that it would pull out and go into this machine. And so we're looking at this machine, and we couldn't see anything, couldn't tell by sight that it had been found because, again, it looked like a burn. So the ENT doctor said, I think we can listen for it because it's plastic. So let's listen for it. And sure enough, they heard it, and he stopped took the tubes out of my nose and kept it. The doctor then cleans it off a little bit and hands it to my mom. Why? Because my mom was keeping a baby book on me. And with all of those major life events that happen in a child's life, she documented it. So she had to write a story, put the lamb in my baby book, taped it to the page in the baby book about that incident, that major life event. First time I went to the ER, probably, I don't know. So when you open up my baby book and look through it, you can see a little lamb. And that, my friends, is how I serve a lamb.